Right now, 400 kilometers above your head, a structure the size of a football field is hurtling through space, faster than a bullet. This is the International Space Station. It weighs almost 1,000,000 pounds, costs over $150 billion, and not a single connection between its pieces was ever made on the ground. Every joint was made in orbit. Every bolt and every wire, every module was launched into orbit and put together by astronauts floating in the vacuum of space. This is a story of how humanity pulled off the most ambitious construction project in history. It all started with a dream. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan challenged NASA to build a space station within a decade. They called it freedom, but freedom was too expensive for any one nation to build alone. Meanwhile, Russia had its own plans for the next generation station, called Mir 2. But after the Soviet Union collapsed, funding dried up. Two former rivals faced the same problem, ambitions too big for their budgets. So in 1993, they made a deal that changed spaceflight forever, merged both projects into one international space station. The United States, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada would each build pieces on different continents. Pieces that had never been connected on Earth. 5 space agencies, 15 countries, thousands of engineers speaking different languages, using different measurement systems, and somehow they'd need every piece to fit together perfectly 250 miles above Earth. What came next was the most extraordinary act of international cooperation in the history of science. November 20th, 1998, the frozen steppes of Kazakhstan, a Russian probe rocket roared off its launching pad, a module called Zarya, Russian for sunrise. Zarya was a nearly 20-ton control module that provided the very first power, propulsion, and communications for the station. 9 minutes after launch, it was in orbit, alone, waiting for its other half. 2 weeks later, Space Shuttle Endeavour launched from Florida, carrying Unity, the first American-built piece of the station. And here's the incredible part. These two pieces were designed thousands of miles apart by engineers who had never worked together before. They had never been connected on the ground. When astronauts used Endeavour's robotic arm to grab Zarya and connected with Unity in orbit, they fitted together perfectly. The first construction crew then went outside and spent hours connecting cables and electrical lines by hand, floating in space. Over the next 13 years, the station grew one launch at a time, one module at a time. The backbone of the station is a 108-meter truss, a giant steel spine that holds everything together. Mounted on it are enormous solar arrays spanning about 2,500 square meters, generating enough electricity to power about 40 homes on Earth. Building it required more than 40 assembly flights, 36 space shuttle missions, and Russian Proton and Soyuz rockets. And Canada contributed Canadarm2, a 17.6-meter robotic arm that became the station's construction crane. It was rated to handle payloads of up to 116 tons with millimeter precision. Without it, assembly would have been impossible. Astronauts performed over 260 spacewalks, more than all previous space programs combined, spending over 1,000 hours outside, bolting on trusses, connecting fluid lines, wiring electrical cables, all while orbiting Earth every 90 minutes. By the year 2000, astronauts could come in. The space station has been inhabited for over 25 years. Nearly 300 people from 26 countries have stepped through its hatches. Americans, Russians, Japanese, Canadians, Europeans, and even private citizens. Inside, there's a living space of a 6-bedroom house, a gym where the crew works out 2.5 hours every single day to fight bone and muscle loss, and a 360-degree observation dome called the Cupola, the best window view in the whole universe. The crew experiences 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets, and they drink recycled water. Yes, recycled water from their urine. Today, spacecrafts like SpaceX Crew Dragon ferry astronauts back and forth regularly, and the station itself has become a world-class laboratory. Scientists are growing plants in microgravity, studying how space changes human DNA, and developing new medicines using protein crystals that form more perfectly in weightlessness. The ISS isn't just a construction achievement, it's a scientific platform that has transformed our understanding of the human body, physics, and biology in ways that will shape the future of space exploration. Everything we learn here eventually brings us to the moon and Mars. If this story amazed you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more incredible space stories coming. Drop a comment below which fact blew your mind the most. I'll see you in the next one.